Have you ever wondered what it would be like to use a human trainer in battle instead of a Pokemon? Well, the newest release in the franchise, Pokemon Legends Arceus, kind of answers this, with the protagonist being able to take damage from wild Pokemon, but that's not enough for me. So I took matters into my own hands and created a brand new, never before seen experience that I'm happy to share with you today. Among Pokemon, there is a method of categorization called egg groups. Among these sections, there's one in particular that stood out to me. It is called the human-like group. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds a lot like I'm just going to be using Pokemon in battle and claim that I'm using humans in an effort to make a clickbaity title and thumbnail. And if you have that thought, you are 100% correct. Now strap in, because this is the video of my attempt at a Pokemon Brilliant Diamond hardcore nuzlocke only using Pokemon that belong to the human-like egg group. Really quick, if you're unfamiliar with hardcore nuzlocke rules, they are as follows. You can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter on each route. If a Pokemon faints, it is no longer usable, no overleveling past the next gym leader's ace, no items in battle, and I must play on set mode. We begin by naming myself Tristan, my human name, and then naming my rival Hugh Man, another very human name. We get thudded into, fined $10 million, and head to the lake to try to set out on our Pokemon journey, for which we are horribly ill-equipped. Pokemon logic though, we find an abandoned briefcase full of Pokemon that we steal to defend ourselves from wild Starly. My first eligible encounter of the run is a Chimchar, which, even though it's a female, gets named Harambe. I take out the Starly, head home, and tell my mom I'm going on a camping trip where I plan on fighting evil and routinely risking my life, and she says, "That's a great idea, 10-year-old son. Go do that." So I do go do that. I quickly get through the catching tutorial with Dawn and can challenge my first real human trainer to a battle, youngster Tristan. First of all, what a great name. Doesn't that name just make you want to hit the subscribe button and drop a like? Anyway, youngster Tristan Starly murders Harambe in cold blood. On to attempt 2. Everything that I said before happens again, but this time I name myself the very human name Oven. My rival gets the name The Feds. Harambe is a male, and I make sure to train up on wild Pokemon so I can crush the youngster to prove to him who the better Tristan is. It's at this point I realize that because I'm playing on my Switch and not an emulator, every single reset is going to be painful. So I grind up on wild Pokemon and challenge my rival to the first of many fights that we will have in this game. A couple of strong embers takes out his Starly, and then he sends in Piplup, who I can take out with a combination of scratches and embers. That's the first rival fight. I now get access to my second and third encounters of the run, an Abra that I catch and name Seabiscuit, and a Machop that I catch and name Aragog. By the way, if you can guess what my naming theme is for this run, comment down below and you might win something. You probably won't, but you might. With all my encounters, I head to the gym to fight Rourke, where I am able to use Power Up Punch 5 times for the win. Easy. I can now head over to my first real challenge of the run, the fight with Mars, which is considered to be one of the first run killers because of her ridiculously fast and hard-hitting ugly cat. Before the battle though, I evolve Abra into Kadabra, who can just one-shot the Zubat, and then switch to Machop for Purugly. Because Purugly is faster, a powered-up Revenge is able to one-shot the fat cat. In Eterna Forest, I can get my fourth encounter on the run, a Baniri, in a double battle alongside Cheryl. Baniri gets named Dolly. I also head to the route east of Eterna City to catch Meditite that I named Bruce. I recorded this on my phone because I was playing on my couch and not my computer when this happened. A really cool feature of these remakes is the Grand Underground, which allows you to encounter rare Pokemon that aren't available in the overworld. Since there aren't really routes down here, I can't use Nuzlocke rules, so I decided to just give myself one encounter in the underground per gym badge. My encounter this time around is an Elekid that I catch and name Pizza Rat. With a full party of 6, it is time for me to challenge the second gym leader, Gardenia. I lead Monferno into her Cherubi and take it out with one Flame Wheel. In comes Turtwig, and one Ember gets the job done. Her Roserade comes in and misses a Stun Spore, really lucky, and then I get even more luck by burning it off of an ember. A few more embers earns me the Forest Badge, which allows me to get my second underground encounter, a Ralts that I name Laika. I do also have my fight with Galactic Leader Jupiter, but it's pretty easy, and after some training, I can now fight Maylene. I lead Kadabra and press Psychic 3 times. That was easy. My next task is to head south to Pastoria City to fight Crasher Wake. Before doing so though, I am able to trade with a friend of mine for an Electivire, a Machamp, and an Alakazam, which are all incredibly powerful Pokemon. On to the fight. I lead Electivire into his Gyarados and take it out with a single Thunder Punch. He brings in Quagsire though with the threat of Mud Shot, so I swap into Lopunny who can tank the shot and return a couple of Grass Knots. He brings in Floatzel and gets an insanely lucky freeze on Pizza Rat, so I have to bring Gardevoir to do some chip damage and then Machamp to finish him off. Still finished deathless, but that was kind of an annoying fight. I decided to try for my Krogunk encounter in the underground, and because of the crazy level scaling, I can't manage to catch it, but I can just come back later and find it when I get another encounter. With Fantina finally taking a break from her contests or whatever she's been doing, I now challenge her. I lead Alakazam, who is holding a Rostberry, to prevent the potential burn from Driplim's Will-O-Wisp. I start with a Nasty Plot, and as expected, she goes for a Will-O-Wisp. A single Nasty Plot boosted Shadow Ball takes out every single member of her team. Add that to the list of easy fights. Speaking of easy fights, here comes the feds trying to take me down on the Canalave City Bridge. Let's see how this one plays out. Okay, good. That's an Oko. Let's go Psychic. This is an Oko. I'm pretty sure that Prinplup survives a Psychic. Yeah. He's gonna beat the champion. Did you hear that? Nice. Up to this point, I haven't really used much strategy. I've mostly just been able to switch into a Pokemon with a type advantage and one-shot my enemies. But with Byron, I had to put a little more thought into my plan. Here's what I came up with. I go into the battle pre-damaged and then taunt the Bronzor into attacking me with 2 additional Flash Cannons. Because I'm pre-damaged, Infernape's ability Blaze activates. Blaze raises the power of Fire-type moves, but only when the user is below 1/3 of their total health. With Bronzor taunted, I'm able to get off a Nasty Plot and a Stealth Rock in order to break the sturdy ability of Bastiodon, which Byron sends out later. The Nasty Plot and Metronome item allows Harambe to cleanly sweep through Byron's team with 3 flamethrowers. I thought this strategy was super cool. It's the first time I've done a crazy planned out strategy that has actually worked, so with that I'm able to advance the story. I head over to Lake Valor to fight Saturn. She just gets the Alakazam treatment though. I then have to go over to a different lake and fight Mars, who also gets the Alakazam treatment. I'm starting to think that human-like Pokemon are just flat out better than all other types. With evil team fighting put on a temporary hold, I head up to Snowpoint City for my fight with... Wait, what's her name again? Oh, right, Candace D. I lead Infernape into her Snover and set up a Nasty Plot. Then, Harambe proceeds to commit arson. The number of single move gym sweeps in this challenge is insane. It's a crazy break from my last, much harder Nuzlocke, which, by the way, if you haven't watched, go do that. It's a good one. At this point in the game, I am now headed into what many consider to be the second hardest fight behind the fight with Pokemon League champion Cynthia. Spear Pillar Cyrus had me fearing for the lives of the humans that have worked alongside 10-year-old Oven to destroy the self-esteem of any adult who dare oppose me. I have also been holding on to some encounters because I simply haven't needed them yet. So I head back to the route north of Salacion Town for a Mime Jr. I name him Gidget. I then go back to Iron Island to get the Riolu egg from Riley. I name Riolu Scooby-Doo. And finally, I head back to the underground for my final encounter of the run, a Jinx that I name Bambi. With my dream team constructed, Alakazam, Machamp, Infernape, Electivire, Gardevoir, and the real human himself, Mr. Mime, I head to Spear Tower. With my upcoming fight with Cyrus in mind, I lead Mr. Mime and immediately switch him out for Infernape during my battle with Mars and Jupiter. I nasty plot a couple times and then try to stall out the Reflect and Light Screen turns with Protect. The Fed's Munchlax takes out Mars' Bronzor a little earlier than I wanted, and her Purugly comes out. Jupiter's Bronzor confuses me, but luckily I'm able to dodge confusion and land a Protect against the Fat Cat's Dig. A couple turns later, I'm able to snap out a confusion to take out Purugly, while the Feds takes out Bronzor. Both Golbats come in, which is bad news for Harambe, so I switch into Pizza Rat and take out Mars' final Pokemon with a Thunder Punch. A Thunder Punch also takes out Jupiter's Golbat, and then Skuntank goes down to a couple of Earthquakes. With the commanders out of the way, Cyrus has a mental breakdown and attacks a 10-year-old boy. Classic. I lead Mr. Mime into his Honchkrow and can take it out with a single Choice Specs boosted Thunderbolt. Cyrus then sends out his Crobat, which I figure is going for a super effective cross poison, so I switch to Lucario to negate the damage. I get the Crobat down to half health, and then it U-turns to Gyarados on a Psychic. I Protect to figure out what move it's going to use, Earthquake, which isn't good for Pizza Rat, so I bring out Mr. Mime to have him do what I brought him for. Get some chip damage off on Gyarados, and then take one for the team. I drag Mr. Mime's carcass off the battlefield and replace it with Pizza Rat, who takes out Gyarados with a single Thunder Punch. Cyrus then sends out Weavile, and anticipating a dig, I use Earthquake for an easy KO. His last Pokemon is Crobat, and at half health, a Thunder Punch destroys Cyrus's hopes of ever conquering the universe. Now with the Lord of Time, Dialga, standing in front of me, I do the only thing that makes sense in a hardcore Nuzlocke. I run. With the story essentially completed, I can finally challenge the 8th gym leader, this depressed dude named Volkner. I lead Lopunny into his Raichu and begin setting up an agility and then substituting for a switch into Scooby-Doo. I nasty plot once, and with the increased speed from agility, am able to outspeed and click Aura Sphere 5 times for the win. 8 gym badges with just a single planned death feels great. This is probably the most successful Nuzlocke I've ever attempted. And with that increased confidence, I make my way through Victory Road for my final fight with the Feds. I lead Gardevoir into his Staraptor and set up with Calm Mind. A Thunderbolt brings it down to its Sash, and then another one takes it out. He sends in Roserade, and a single Psychic manages to one-hit KO. Rapidash comes in, and I survive a hard Poison Jab that I wasn't expecting, and fire back with an even harder Psychic. Empoleon comes out, and I bring in Pizza Rat. Brian does decent damage, but I outspeed and one-hit KO with a Thunder Punch on the next turn. He brings out his scariest Pokemon next, a Snorlax with high horsepower. I decide to stay in and risk it, and it pays off because the Feds just try to put me to sleep. Fools. I finish off Snorlax with another Brick Break and then switch to Harambe on the Heracross for a super duper effective acrobatics. With the Feds taken care of, I can enter the threshold and challenge Aaron, the first member of the Elite Four. I lead with Harambe, who is holding a metronome, and click Flamethrower 4 times, each one doing more damage than the last until Drapion comes in. And with the strength that has been accrued on Harambe's Flamethrowers, one final attack finishes the fight. That was incredibly easy. My next battle though is with Bertha, who is really tricky, but I came up with a solid strategy. I lead with Harambe to set up Stealth Rocks to break the sturdy on the Golem who Bertha sends out later. I give him a Focus Sash to hold just in case of a crit Earthquake, but Quagsire goes for a Toxic instead. With Stealth Rock set up, I can switch to Alakazam, who uses Grass Knot a total of 6 times for another easy win. I can now also get rid of Grass Knot in favor of Psychic on Seabiscuit. That'll come in use later. The next fight with Flint is one that I prepared for a really long time, but couldn't really find a good idea, so I decided to just go for this cheese play. After doing Calix, I thought I would be able to stall with Infernape holding leftovers and set up Nasty Plot for a Flamethrower sweep. I also need Infernape out there to set up Stealth Rocks for Flint's own Infernape that is holding a Focus Sash. I get really unlucky with the sleep turns here and decide that I have to switch to Lucario on a Poison Jab. I pivot back to Infernape and he manages to dodge a Hypnosis, which is super awesome, but it's all for nothing because Harambe goes down to a critical hit Poison Jab. The third time Harambe has died. Disgusting disrespect from Flint here. Alakazam comes in, and I set up Nasty Plot and then finish it off with Psychic. Flint's second Pokemon is Steelix, who, while defensively bulky, doesn't have great special defense, so a single Nasty Plot boosted Shadow Ball can take it out. Seabiscuit outspeeds Lopunny and deletes it with a single Psychic, and same goes for Drifblim, but it just goes down to a Shadow Ball instead. Flint's Infernape comes in, and its sash is broken with Stealth Rocks. Thank you, Harambe. But it outspeeds and does enough damage to KO Seabiscuit. But through the power of love and friendship and anime logic, Seabiscuit lives to see another day. That was a really rough Flint fight, and I'm disappointed that it didn't go exactly the way I wanted. And, even though I've taken out 3 members of the Elite Four, I'm feeling really discouraged headed into this fight with Lucian. Before I approach him, I give Alakazam the leftovers with the intention of going for another cheesy stall strategy. Hopefully it works this time. I use Shadow Ball against his Mr. Mime, who sets up a light screen, which is a little annoying, but that just means I need to stall out those turns on the Girafarig. With Girafarig out, I know it'll go for a Trick Room to start, so I set up a Nasty Plot. It does really minimal damage with Thunderbolts, and I out-heal with Recover, so once I'm fully stacked on Nasty Plots, and both Trick Room and Light Screen have faded, a single Psychic is able to take out the Girafarig. I finish off the rest of Lucian's team with insanely powerful Shadow Balls, and that's the end of the Elite Four. My final obstacle of this run is every childhood nightmare, Cynthia. She has a diverse team of incredibly strong Pokemon that have competitive movesets and held items. And it's a 5v6 with the loss of Harambe. I make my final preparations and step up to ask her to battle me. I lead Gardevoir into her Spiritomb, which goes down to a single Moonblast. In comes Roserade, who outspeeds and one-shots Gardevoir for a clean switch into Seabiscuit. I outspeed and Psychic for the KO, which baits Gastrodon. One of the preparations I made before this fight was getting rid of Shadow Ball for Grass Knot, which I use a few times for the KO, burning a couple of full restores in the process. Milotic comes in and burns with Scald, which is really bad news, but Seabiscuit knows we're in trouble, so he crits the Milotic for another KO. Cynthia sends in Lucario, and I see no option but to sacrifice Alakazam for a clean switch into Electivire, who Earthquakes for the one-shot. Now is time for her final Pokemon. The Pokemon that has been banned from competitive play before for being too overpowered. Garchomp. Pizza Rat goes down and I send out Dolly. She misses the first Blizzard while Garchomp sets up a Swords Dance, and I think this is the end, but on the next turn she toughs out the Earthquake and returns some chip damage with Blizzard. She goes down here, but I think this is enough for Lucario to come in and survive on 1 HP, holding a Focus Sash, and finish off Garchomp with a Dragon Pulse. Is this what happens though? I'll just play the clip. Please. It avoided it! What? It avoided it! Oh, thank God it avoided it. The game just wants me to win. Oh my gosh. Okay, please don't use a full restore. I'm gonna need a crit or something. Oh, it's gonna be a range to kill. Oh, it's gonna be a range to kill. Why did I not put extreme speed on this? It's a range. Okay, well, that's game. Just crit, please. Yeah, that's game. Oh my gosh. Please crit, please crit, please crit. Okay. Yeah, that's game. That is unfortunately game. Well, I'm done with this. Are you for real? Are you serious? What? I did not deserve this. I did not deserve this. What? The game wanted me to win. What the heck? Oh my gosh, I did not earn that at all. Sorry that was a full 2 minutes, but I don't think I could have captured that roller coaster of a fight with a voiceover. And as you heard me say from the stream clip, I do not deserve this win, but I'm really glad that the game did work in my favor here, because I put in over 36 hours of gameplay into this challenge, and if I didn't win, there's absolutely no shot I would have gone back for attempt 3. If you made it this far into the video, thanks so much for watching. I put a ton of work into it, so it would mean a lot if you just let me know what you think in the comments, drop a like and subscribe. I do challenges like this on my Twitch and upload them onto YouTube, so if you want to come join the streams and be like some of those people that you saw occasionally in the chat, come hang out, it's fun. But anyway, that was the video of how I beat Pokemon Brilliant Diamond with only humans. See you in the next one.